Hello, it's me again. We are moving on to section 7.3, which is about sum and difference identities. So I took and made a PDF file in this document that you're looking at, and I just grabbed the sum and difference identities off of your identity sheet. Okay, this one's actually one that I had in one of my books that I was able to bring home with me. So I just took a picture of this section. This section, and there it is. So ultimately there's two identities. There's the sine, which is a plus and a minus, and then there's the cosine, which is a plus and a minus, and then there's tangent, which is a plus and a minus. Down below I have handwritten it out where I split them out. Sometimes in the past kids have had a hard time understanding this plus and minus stuff, so that's why I have it written out here. You guys can probably find some way to screenshot this if you want to have these on hand as well. So ultimately what we're going to be doing is we're going to use our unit circle angles, and we're going to find the sign, the exact sign, not a decimal approximation. I know you can put that in your calculator and get the decimal, but that's not where we're going with this. We can check our answers that way, but I don't want you to use the calculator besides that. So ultimately, we're going to use our unit circle angles, and we're going to find the sine of 105 degrees. So you got to first of all think of two unit circle angles that will add or subtract to 105 degrees. It doesn't matter if you're adding or subtracting. So my instant thought is I want the sine of 45 degrees plus 60 degrees. Okay, so those are both unit circle angles. They're very commonly used. I can easily find the sine of 45 and 60. So I'm going to use the sum. So the very first one over here, that's this one I'm going to use right there. Okay, so let me highlight that for you. I'm going to use this one right here. Oh, that's a very thin highlighter. Lame. Anyway, I'm playing with my fonts and my pens down at the bottom here. So I've got that right there. So I know the sine of 105 is going to be, we're going to say this is alpha. Oh, that's not an alpha. This is alpha and this is beta. Okay, so alpha is 45, beta is 60. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the sine of 45. We're going to multiply it by the cosine of 60. Okay, then we're going to add that to the cosine of 45 times the sine of 60. Okay, so using your unit circle, if you have it, use it. If not, use your hand trick. That's what I'm going to be doing. Okay, because I can't find my unit circle. Anyway, the sine of 45 is the square root of 2 over 2. The cosine of 60 is 1/2. That is the time sign right there. Okay, so then we're going to add that to the cosine of 45, which is the square root of 2 over 2, times the sine of 60. The sine of 60 is square root of 3 over 2. So we multiply and then we add. So we're going to have square root of 2 over 4 plus the square root of 6 over 4. Oh, great. Common denominator. Write it as a single fraction. Square root 2 plus square root 6 all over 4. That is the exact sine of 105. You can use your calculator and check that. All right, if you have your calculator handy, you can check it. You can find the sine of 105 and then compare it with that. It will be the same. Next thing, sine and cosines, sum and difference identities are pretty simple. Tangent, on the other hand, tangent's always kind of done its own little thing. Okay, even with the hand trick, it did its own little thing. Sine and cosine was the square root something over 2 with the hand trick. Tangent was square root over square root. Okay, we didn't get to the point where we were graphing anything other than sine and cosine. We were going to do that after break. I decided to skip that for now. So you didn't get to see the graphs of tangent, but even the graphs of tangent are a little interesting, to say the least. Let me see. I'm trying to grab that. There it is. Oh, look, it brought that with it. Oh, well. Okay, so I'm going to do a tangent one because tangents are a little scary. We're going to do the tangent of 255 degrees. All right, so sum and difference, either two angles that will add to 255 or subtract to 255. Doesn't matter what you choose to use. I'm going to do a subtraction because the first thing I thought of was 300 minus 45 degrees. That's the first thing I thought of, so that's what I decided to run with. So we've got alpha, this one's beta, and I'm going to use the bottom one here. Okay, if I use this bottom one right here, that's the one we've got to use. So I've got to have the tangent of 300 and the tangent of 45. So the tangent of 300 degrees, using my hand trick, it's sine over sine, or sine over cosine. So it's going to be radical 3 over radical 1. I'm looking at my hand right here. Get that in the picture. This is awkward. So it's going to be radical 3 over radical 1, which is just radical 3. And then the tangent of 45, oh, how fun is that? Perfect. Tangent of 45, that's going to equal 1. Okay. So you have your unit circle. This stuff should be on it. I think we did it. So ultimately what we're going to do here is I'm just going to start substituting. The tangent of 300 is the square root of 3. So radical 3 minus 1 over 1 plus radical 3 times 1. Oh, that's just radical 3. All right, now we are going to rationalize the denominator. We have a binomial irrational number in the denominator, so that means we're going to multiply by the conjugate pair. Conjugate pair. So this is 1 plus radical 3. The conjugate pair to that is 1 minus radical 3. Okay. So, and then we just FOIL. Okay. So I'm just going to move this over a little bit so I have some more space. And I'm going to FOIL. So radical 3 times 1, that's going to be radical 3. And then radical 3 times negative radical 3 is negative, 3. And then negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. Negative 1 times negative radical 3 is positive radical 3. On the bottom, it's super fun because the inners and their outers are going to cancel. So I'm not even going to write those. I'm just going to multiply 1 times 1. And then it's going to be negative times a positive, so it's a negative. And then radical 3 times radical 3 is 3. And then we're going to simplify and combine like terms. So as we simplify, I'm going to put on the numerator, I'm going to say negative 3 minus 1. Oh, that's negative 4. Put that over here. Okay, and these guys right here. And then radical 3 and radical 3, it's positive 2 radical 3. All that's going to be over negative 2. Now you got a couple of options here. You can factor the numerator and then cancel, or we can just cancel from here. I'm going to choose to factor this time. On the numerator, I'm going to factor a negative 2, okay? And that's going to leave me with positive 2 here minus radical 3. And then I'm going to divide that by negative 2. Now I've got these negative 2's on the outside right here. They will cancel. Bye-bye. And we've got 2 minus radical 3 for our final answer. And you can check that using the calculator. Hit tangent of 255. Make sure that your calculator is in the right measurement. Make sure it's in degrees if you're using degrees. And then check this one out. It doesn't matter what you do when you do 2 minus radical 3. It's going to be the same. Trust me. Your assignment's going to be 4 problems where you're going to have to use a sum or difference and simplify from there. Good luck. It'll be due next week. You'll be all right.